Natural law, what it is and why it is important to know about it and to follow it. The first time I've heard about natural law was a couple of years ago from a Native American elder named Russell Means. I strongly encourage you to look for him and listen to some of his videos. He has a lot of wisdom to share. So going back to natural law is the laws, the principles through which the earth is operating. These laws are universal. They are from the beginning of time, and they have developed through the millions and millions of years of evolution of the earth. And these laws apply to every being on this earth: animal, plants, stones, and humans. Couple of ideas, couple of thoughts on natural law is that everything on this earth is interconnected and interdependent. All the beings, all the creatures, all the natural elements are interdependent with each other. Thus, they form the web of life. The web of life in which every dot symbolizes a being, and the ropes that connect them represent the connections, the interdependency between all these beings. Natural law is about being part of the system, being equal, and not being dominant, and not being in control of all the other beings. Natural law speaks also about harmony and balance. And this is something that keeps the web of life together and healthy. If something happens with a being in the ecosystem, in this web of life, will directly affect and influence all the other beings in the web of life. And just to give you an example, there is a famous video about the impact of the wolves in the Yellowstone National Park in United States of America. So for many years the wolves have been exterminated in North America, and especially in the Yellowstone National Park. And the scientists notice big changes that actually harmed the whole ecosystem. So after many years they decided to reintroduce the wolves. And you may imagine that, you know, having a predator is actually harming the ecosystem because, you know, some animals will be eaten by the wolves. But actually what they've noticed throughout the years is that the ecosystem flourished and life in Yellowstone National Park expanded, all because and due to the reintroduction of the wolves. And this is just a simple example to understand how one element of the web of life is influencing and maintaining a harmony and a balance on Earth. Another element of the natural law is that every being in this ecosystem has meaning and has purpose within this ecosystem. Let's just imagine, you know, the trees. The trees give oxygen that we humans and animals consume. We need this oxygen, and we as humans, we give carbon out, and it's what the trees need. We need wood from the trees to create shelters and fire. And you know, the birds need the trees as well as the trees need the birds. So everything has a purpose and has something to offer to the ecosystem. And these are a couple of ideas about the natural law. And something very important is that everyone that is connected with nature and deeply connected with nature knows intuitively about natural law and is following it. But unfortunately, the modern human, most of the modern humans, they have almost no idea about natural law. And we have reach a level as civilization in which we are deeply disconnected from the natural law, because we are disconnected from nature. We live separate from nature. And this brings a lot of negative effects on our development as humans, but also on the large planetary ecosystem, on the web of life. And because we as humans separated from nature, and this separation process started with the development of agriculture and the domestication of animals. And century by century, we disconnected more and more from nature. And in this way, we have disconnected ourselves more and more from the natural law. And we replaced the natural law with the human law. The human law, which is unfortunately shallow and is not covering everything that we need to know as humans and as species. And because we disconnected from the natural law, we as humans disconnected from our inner nature, and we get out of this planetary natural harmony, and we became persons that are out of balance, and we disconnected ourselves from our purpose and our place on this earth and on this planet. So I'm saying these words because it's really important for ourselves, for our mental health, to get back to nature. And it's not only for ourselves, but it's for the whole web of life. It's really important to get back to nature in order to get back in this planetary harmony from which we separated. Because we have reached a critical point in our planetary evolutions in which our harmful behaviors, self-destructive behaviors, have affected tremendously the web of life, up to the point in which the future survival of the life we know on the earth is threatened, and we are on the edge with our evolution as species. And the way to reconnect and the way to get back with our inner harmony and with our planetary harmony is to get back to nature and to get back in touch with natural law. How to do this? How to do this is by immersing ourselves as much as we can in nature. And nature that is as wild as possible. Parks are also good, but the human influence is still present in parks. So it's really better to go out in big forests, in mountains, in hills, go by the beach, on wild beaches, and just to be there and to immerse ourselves in the natural world. And when we do this, we will slowly get to see and get to feel in our heart, in our bodies, in our minds, the laws of nature. There's a Native American saying that speaks about how the Creator has hidden the laws of nature in all the beings around the humans. And humans need to be in nature and need to get in touch with these beings in order to understand the laws of nature. So me being here in this beautiful forest, not very far from my city, from my home, I get to understand that nature has a rhythm. And this rhythm is most often way slower than my rhythm as human being. I get to understand that everyone is equal. And I get to understand that nature doesn't like, but really doesn't like, arrogance. So being in nature, I really learn how to be humble and how to take myself from the top of the pyramid, from the center of the world, and put myself back in the web of life, being equal, being equally important with all the other beings. And while being here and taking a break, sitting by a tree, by a creek, I get to hear, slowly maybe in the beginning, but then louder and louder, more ideas and images about my place in this web of life, about my purpose, about what I am meant to do in my life. Because in order to understand what is my place in the web of life, what is my purpose in the web of life, I really need to immerse myself in the web of life. So these are a couple of ideas that I wanted to share connected with natural law. Let's go back to nature, let's immerse ourselves in order to get in touch with our inner nature and the outer nature. Earth is waiting for us. Earth is longing for us as much as our hearts long for nature. Thank you, and greetings from all these beautiful beings behind me and in front of me and above me and below me. Thank you.